Hello, my name is Mackenzie Adkins, and this is my intercultural speech. The culture I learned about was Filipino culture. For this project, I interviewed my boyfriend's mom, Brenda Rosari. She grew up in the Philippines and moved to America fresh out of college in search for new opportunities. She's been living here for over 25 years and has worked to keep her Filipino traditions alive here in the States. During this interview, I got to learn about the cultural differences in the Philippines versus what I'm used to here. She also cooked me traditional Filipino food like adobo chicken. Through my interview, I was able to see how Filipino culture has shaped her life through the way her family is structured, the relationships she makes with others, and her religious practices. Miss Rosari's main goal when moving to the States was to provide a better life for her parents, who had given her so much, and to create new opportunities for her future children. Filipino culture shapes the way the families are structured. When asked about the biggest difference in family roles between America and the Philippines, she said that individualism plays a much stronger role in family dynamics here. In the Philippines, family is interdependent, with collective decision-making, caring for relatives, and staying bonded through adulthood all playing important parts. She also said that holidays were more important and sacred in the Philippines. They would prepare food for days and invite lots of relatives to celebrate, while in America, she has seen holidays be less appreciated. I asked if there were any certain Filipino traditions she focused on preserving when moving to America, and she said she mainly focused on the values of family, respect, and tradition. When we settled in Kentucky, one of my biggest priorities was preserving the core values of Filipino family life, especially our deep sense of togetherness, respect for elders, and the importance of shared meals. Back home, family isn't just immediate relatives. It's a wide circle of titos, titas, cousins, and even close family friends who are treated like kin. I wanted my children to grow up with that same sense of community, even if it were far from home. We adapted by creating our own version of that extended family here, building close relationships with other Filipino families and neighbors who became a part of our support system. We continued traditions like celebrating Noche Buena on Christmas Eve, saying Mano Po to show respect, and gathering around the table for home-cooked meals, no matter how busy life got. We are also very actively involved in the Bluegrass Filipino American Association, where I serve in various roles, treasurer, president, and currently an advisor. It's more than community group, it's an extension of our family. We gather regularly to celebrate Filipino traditions like playing games, singing our national anthem and folk songs, performing cultural dances, and preparing and sharing beloved dishes. These gatherings have helped my children understand where they come from, not just through stories, but through lived experiences. At the same time, I embraced aspects of American culture that encouraged independence and open communication. I encouraged my kids to speak up, pursue their passions, and explore their identities, something that wasn't always emphasized in the more hierarchical structure I grew up with. In many ways, our family became a blend of both worlds, rooted in Filipino warmth and respect, but open to the freedom and individuality that America life offers. Not only does she aim to keep traditions alive within her family, she also shares them with the people around her. Her Filipino culture shapes the way she communicates with others. I asked her if technology helped her communicate with others, and she said yes, absolutely. She not only uses tools like Google Translate to help her know what people were saying, but she was able to look up slang and phrases that people were using, which helped her understand what was being said. She shared that she has a running list in her phone, so if someone said a hyperbole or idiom she may not understand, she can add it on there and ask for the meaning later. When asked if she could recount a struggle or opportunity communication gave her, she said the following. Early in my career, I struggled with communication. Coming from a Filipino background, I was used to being indirect, using polite suggestions and soft language to avoid confrontation. But in the American workplace, I encountered a very different style. My coworkers and bosses were direct, sometimes blunt, and it felt jarring. I took things personally at first, unsure how to respond without feeling hurt or misunderstood. Over time, I taught myself how to see these differences, not as threats, but as opportunities. I realized that directness wasn't meant to offend, it was simply a cultural norm. That shift helped me grow professionally and emotionally. I became more confident in expressing myself clearly, while still honoring my values of empathy. As I moved into leadership, This experience became a cornerstone of how I mentor others. I'm especially mindful when working with multicultural teams or coaching new professionals from immigrant backgrounds. I help them navigate communication styles, build confidence, and find their voice, just as I had to find mine. I lead with cultural sensitivity, knowing that the best teams thrive when everyone feels understood, respected, and empowered to speak up. Because of this newfound courage to communicate with others, she has been able to share her religious beliefs and practices with those around her. According to an article by Jack Miller on the Asia Society, the Philippines is the only Christian nation in all of Asia. Because of this, they take great pride in sharing their religion. Brenda says that growing up in the Philippines, her faith was woven into every part of her life. She was raised in a fundamental, independent Baptist church where Sundays were sacred, not just for worship, but for fellowship. She was deeply involved in youth and music ministries, and church felt like an extension of home for her. They spent the entire day together doing things like singing, serving, sharing meals, and building relationships that felt like family. When she moved to America, she was surprised by how different church life felt. Services were shorter, more structured, and people often left right after. That sense of closeness and community she was used to wasn't as present. She felt a deep longing for the warmth and togetherness they had back at home. Over time, she learned to adapt by seeking out smaller groups, joining Bible studies, and finding ways to reconnect spiritually through personal devotion and music. Her faith didn't weaken, it actually evolved, realizing that while structure may be different, the heart of worship remains the same. With the freedom to continue practicing her religion, she's remained faithful through every season of her new life. Overall, culture has impacted many aspects of Ms. Rosari's life. She has overcome the struggles that come with this by staying true to herself, her faith, and her people. If Brenda never immigrated to the United States of America, she wouldn't have had these opportunities to share her culture with me and many others. Thank you for listening, and thank you to Brenda for sharing with us. Bye.